We're now joined by Greg Fleming, President and Chief Executive of Rockefeller Capital Management. Greg, thank you so much for joining us. And what a day to join us.
Thank you, Francine. I was actually here in the UK early in my career when Prime Minister Thatcher stepped down and John Major stepped in.
So it's all you.
Actually, it was much less frequent then. I mean, that was a big event, whereas obviously in the last 10 years, there's been a lot of it here.
Yeah, 7 prime ministers in 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the problem with, I guess, the party is holding your party, be it Conservative or Labour. Does it change the way you look at investments in the UK, given all of this political turmoil?
Well, what I would say is, and what I hope happens in the UK now is a path to more of a growth orientation and growth in the economy. You know, and if you want to take a playbook out of the U.S., and there are plenty of challenges in the U.S., but one of the things that's really working well there is the private sector and corporate America. And, you know, employment's still high, investment is significant, and including in advanced industries like semiconductors and biopharma and you know, some of the leading industries as the world moves forward here, all in the U.S. Under some, you know, pro-growth orientation, and I'd love to see the UK economy grow more going forward.
Greg, is there something? I mean, can a private sector in the UK thrive despite political turmoil if the new government and the new administration has some kind of parameters, or is it just too fluid at the moment?
Well, the degree of change here is a lot, but I would argue that the private sector in the U.S. has continued to flourish, and we've had plenty of political turmoil, fiscal policy that continues to be, you know, really a challenge against the backdrop of the private sector. I mean, we're running, you know, public deficits of 6-7% of GDP, you know, during this full employment time, and that's a challenge, and that might be, you know, that's a challenge for the Fed now as Kevin Warsh steps in. So there's plenty of challenge in the public arena in the U.S., and yet the innovation in the United States and the new business machine, Francine, 6.2 million applications for new businesses is the run rate in the U.S. this year. That would be by far a record.
Greg, is it, you know, winner takes all? So, you know, you have, and we'll get onto AI in a second, it's this massive fight between the U.S. and China. What's left for the UK and Europe?
Well, you know, I think, again, if there's a focus on pro-growth and on innovation and on providing financing alternatives for companies that come up with good ideas. One of the strengths of the United States is if you have an idea, you can pretty quickly get funding for that. I mean, we have now, given the AI tools, you'll have an entrepreneur start a business and be able to get funding, and they might just have a few employees because they have the agents doing a lot of the work, and yet they get the funding. And as we've seen recently, the funding goes all the way from startup to the public markets when a company becomes quite scaled. So that model can be replicated. It takes a lot and a lot of years, but that ought to be, you know, what you know, I think the UK is looking toward.
So you've recently also announced a partnership with Anthropic. How are you using AI? Is it to grow and enhance your services offering, or just become more productive? Both. Okay.
You know, and we're pleased with the partnership with Anthropic because, you know, they're working with a lot of companies, and they've got really cutting-edge tools that you know, we're able to tap into now, working alongside them. But it's for both of those things. We can make our people across the firm more productive in many ways, and that includes not just the private advisors and their teams, but, you know, the corporate functions and, you know, finance and technology and operations. But we also can create tools that enable the private advisors to work with their clients better and make it, you know, a better experience for clients. So it's both productivity and the client experience. That's what we're focused on.
So I mean, you've bought up loads of actually U.S. wealth management firms over the past decade. So how are you going to grow from now?
Well, you know, we're going to continue to, and what we do is we bring in these private advisors from other firms, and we help them transition their book of business over. We call that inorganic growth. And then once they're at Rockefeller Capital Management, we focus on organic growth. Right. And that really is if there is one strategic driver that every employee at Rockefeller Capital Management could talk about, it's organic growth. And our focus on doing more for existing clients, and then bringing on new clients, often from word of mouth of existing clients who say that, you know, our services, our private advisors are best in class. So we're focused on both inorganic growth and organic growth.
How worried should wealth management chief executives be about this AI revolution?
Well, you know, I think that every company, private and public, in every industry needs to incorporate the tools into the business model. because I think the degree of transformation, and you and I have talked about this here before, is incredible. The tools continue to get stronger and stronger and more powerful. So I think it's incumbent upon every CEO, and it really has to be a CEO-level decision. This is where I spend the greatest amount of my time right now, focused on the AI tools and how I get those efficiently ingrained in the business in ways that ultimately redound well for clients.
But Greg, so what do you worry about? Is it like a challenger AI-focused wealth management, or is it just becoming more, do you have to get fees down? Because there are many different things that you could work on, right?
Yeah, we don't. Our business is, our clients are families, high net worth and ultra high net worth. So the front end is going to stay people and advice. We don't worry about that. What we worry about is, competitors using the tools to be able to do things more efficiently and better for clients, which is why we're so focused on incorporating the tools into every aspect of the experience at Rockefeller Capital Management.
I mean, given all the geopolitical news and all of the uncertainty with Iran as well, how have your U.S. clients invested differently? Do they want to be more exposed geographically, or do they prefer the U.S. because it's so AI-rich?
Well, the U.S. is the leading market for AI, but we work with our clients on a long-term plan, and we try to keep them pretty close to that plan. We'll pivot if something moves a lot in one direction or the other. And as you know, we have our clients also invested, Francine, in public markets, but also in private markets. The alternatives landscape is a $20 trillion market now, from private equity to private credit to infrastructure. We also have clients, and we're selective here. We have clients, families want to invest in early stage private companies, and that's become a more significant part of the high net worth market in the U.S. So we also will put clients selectively into private companies.
Greg, thank you so much for joining us. Greg
Great
Fleming.
to see you today, Francine.
And on a day where the UK Prime Minister
we will remember
resigns,
this one. We've done a lot. We'll remember this one.
We certainly will.
Great to see you.
President and Chief Executive of Rockefeller Capital Management.